Hey folks, it's Nate. It's time I got back to the drawing board, and today we're going to look at Walmite Gold Standard from Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini. This is, in a lot of ways, this is the origin of the iconic comics universe. This has the setup for several major characters, of course not the Black Ops team, but it is, I believe, My Hero Macadamia was the first of their comic line that Lim and Pellegrini did. And it's an interesting book. It definitely has a specific audience, as you might guess from the looks of these covers. This is, of course, a spoof of, first and foremost, President Donald Trump, and it makes fun of just about everything it can get its hands on along the way. The title kind of implies that there are similarities between this and My Hero Macadamia, which, of course, the title of the My Hero Academia, which the title of the first third, drives home. But the reality is, the spoof is just the first volume, and the second and third volumes, all of which are collected in this trade, are more general lampoonings of the American political situation. So, let's start at the beginning, and it's your standard iconic comics quality. It's a very good cover, very good paper stock. I like the look of this cover. It's bright. The gold foil shininess on the letters both fit the theme, given Trump's being a huge fan of gold-plated stuff, and they look good. They pop, and I really like this better than an all-foil cover. The print quality is great. The front, drives home that anime feel, and in the back we have a more traditional comics cover type of thing, showing the Magdalorian take that they have in the third volume of this. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So let's talk about the art. This is Tim Lim. This is some of his earlier stuff. Most of it is quite good. The first volume has some of the composition issues that I've noted on some of Lim's other earlier work. Most of it has to do with very simple panel layouts. It could be a little more dynamic in places. It's a bit of a problem, and it does improve over the course of this. I believe these 3 volumes were released over the course of a year and a half. So, and Lim was doing other projects in between. So he improves a lot. By the end, we are getting some really great artwork that you're going to recognize as more in line with the style that Lim has in things like Common America Volume 1. Some of the changes in coloring are interesting. Like this has brighter, bolder coloring than the later volumes, which is a little more pastel. And I don't really see either one as bad, but this definitely has more of that traditional American comics look, and this is a little more experimental, I guess. And how you feel about, well, this may not be the fairest example because we have the Me Too troopers and they're all pink naturally. But yeah, the coloring is a little bit different. So there's that. On the whole, I think I do like this heavier line style a little bit more than this more pastel with thinner lines. Again, it's a personal choice, and I think that Lim has found a good balance point in Common America, which came after this volume here. So on the whole, it's an interesting look at an artist working out his style and exactly how he wants it to be, but it's definitely not the best work that Lim has ever done. And, that should be expected because it is early in his comic making work. And that's fine. People should improve and grow. If that's going to be an issue for you, well, you know about it. Let's talk about the writing. And a quick disclaimer. I have read a number of political spoof comics. I have read what was it called? Barack the Barbarian. That was it. Back when Obama was first elected. That was That was a pretty bad comic. I read Unemployed Man, which was better from a writing perspective, but wasn't actually very funny as a satire comic probably should be. Barack the Barbarian at least felt like it was actually trying to make jokes, but none of them landed. Unemployed Man was just a preachy polemic, as you might guess from the title. Uh, anyways, so they're not my cup of tea, and I have read, as I said, a few of them to try and understand what the appeal was, and I didn't see it with those. And maybe it was because they were written from an opposing political perspective. Maybe it's because they just weren't written very well. Either way, the kind of highly both of those comics were highly focused on a specific issue, and none of the 3 volumes in here, My Hero Macadamia, Wall Might First Term Part 2, and The Magdalorian, are really focused on any specific issue. They're just sort of lampooning things that are taking place. So they all focus on Donald Trump as the superhero Wall Might. The first one introduces his sidekick, and this is again where the comparisons to My Hero Academia are the strongest, because there's this kid who comes in, and he's the guy that Wall Might has chosen to follow in his footsteps, and at the end we see him evolve into the superhero form of Mike Pence, which I thought personally was really great. I'm from Indiana. I followed Mike Pence's political career longer than most Americans have. I voted for him for Congress a couple of times, and then as governor. So it was fun to see this local political figure become a larger than life superhero figure in this spoof, and I think that was probably the part I enjoyed the most out of this one. There are some really good jokes. Hillary as Hillary, or Hillary, I think it is, a giant robot. That was pretty good. And just some of these sound effects are quite fun. They alternate between like the occasional Japanese sound effect like you see there, and drumpf is used as a sound effect for a lot of actions. I thought that was pretty fun. All in all, the first one just serves as a setup, and of course it introduces Mike Pence as the sidekick, and it's funny, but I think this one is the one that is the most dependent on you're already being invested in the ideas it sets out. First Term Part 2 is a little bit different. Not only are they looking at the political situation with some fun commentary on like the squad and the swing states in an election, but it just does some really cool things setting out antagonists. This is the coolest Bernie Sanders has ever looked in his life. He has some good lines about where is it? So yeah, the blue pill bit is kind of funny. Where was it? Let me see. It's been a little while since I've read this, so I'm having. I love how Mike Pence has just become synonymous with electrical powers. I don't know if you saw the Winston meme where someone's playing Winston named Mike Pence, and he was running around shocking Tracer because she's a lesbian. I think that's a great evolution of Mike Pence. But I don't know how he feels about that. I guess it really doesn't matter. It's a fun way to make fun of the weird reputation that some of our political figures just seem to have built up. And equality of fire, yeah, like that. So yeah, this series, this entry into the series is less a political satire as the first one was, and more just kind of making fun of the reputation of a bunch of political actors. And I'm okay with that. It's fun. I think the only one that didn't really work for me was Brett Kavanaugh as like this frat boy beer chugger. I don't know, I guess that's never the impression I got of him. I know that the media went to great extents to try and build him up as that. I don't feel like they ever quite pulled it off. But yeah, they end with like this, um, team up move where they are the three branches of the government, and they beat up Bernie Sanders, and they knock him into the space shuttle for some reason. Oh, that's right, they're in Florida. I forgot about that. So this also has road trip aspects to it. Finally, we have that's right. We have a side story about Trump's defeating Hillary in the meme war, and then we have episode 3, the Magdalorian, which is takes the idea of draining the swamp and uses it again as the set piece for an action adventure story. So all in all, this book is less political satire about a specific situation, although certainly the Great Meme War and the first volume, which is essentially about the building the wall. This book overall is not about a specific political issue, which I think helps it to stand better on its own. It's more about making fun of the political reputations of our political figures, which is fine, and I think about as far as political satire can go and be really effective. Some of the jokes in here are quite funny. Some of them are political jokes. Some of them are just memes. Like there's let me see if I can find the JoJo walk in here. It is hilarious because it has Chuck Schumer and Donald Trump doing the JoJo walk. I was like, "Are you approaching me, Schumer?" I was like, "Yeah." Oh, here it is. Yeah. So some of that is just general sight gags and visual memes like that. You can definitely see Lim and Pellegrini developing as the comedic duo they are. All in all, this is a pretty good book as the foundation piece of iconic comics storylines. It has some good jokes in it. I'm afraid it doesn't really have any memorable stories or characters outside, of course, of the people who are directly transformed from real life and of Common America, who's introduced in Volume 2 of this as Warhen. I think that stuff is pretty good, but unless you're really interested in the deep lore of the various iconic comic storylines, I don't know as you really need to read this. Everything that's done in here, Lim and Pellegrini have gone on to do better in other stories, except perhaps, again, making fun of real life politicians and the kind of reputations they have and some of their weird personal foibles. And I honestly, as a matter of personal taste, I don't think long form narratives are the best way to do that. Short form, highly pointed political cartoons like something George Alexopoulos does, I think really highlights that kind of thing a lot better. And as you may recall, when I was talking about Black Hops, I said that Lim and Pellegrini really took that story as far as they could go with its basic premise, and then they evolved it. And I really feel like Wall Might has gone about as far as it can go with its basic premise. And I don't know if you can evolve it or if you want to. I mean, it's a very nice snapshot of right-wing political satire in the first term of the Trump administration, and really the first 3 years of the Trump administration. The absolute dissolving of our political discourse over the last year and a half really isn't chronicled in here. All the work on it was done before that. And, that's probably okay because this is a nice, fun, lighthearted read. I think that people who are swing voters or undecided voters or moderate right-wing voters are going to enjoy this more than anyone at the political extremes will. I think that gives it a decent-sized audience. But, I'm going to be honest, if there are more Wall Might comics put out, I probably won't invest in them. This is an okay read. And again, I like having it on the shelf with the other iconic comic stuff, but I don't think I'm ever going to want to go back and look at it. And I have done that with all the other stuff they've put out. And I think that ultimately is what decides me on further entries in this line. Now, if you love political satire and if you like poking fun at people for the reputations and their character foibles, and you don't mind an entire story kind of being built around that, this is definitely something you're going to enjoy. If it's not your cup of tea, well, Iconic Comics has, I think, much better offerings for you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. There's a like button and a subscribe button down below. You can use them as you see fit, and I'll talk to you later.